All right. Well, it's been pretty cold recently, right? And I think this weather has been kind of an indication of our football um, mood, I guess you could say. Pretty disappointing week for both of us. Both of the teams are following that.
Tell me
Uh,
about it.
but it was a crazy slate of games this weekend. And last year, we had that crazy week where there was just, it's like, oh man, a bunch. Nah, this week probably tops everything that we've seen over the past several years, I would say. So let's just get right into it. One of the big, I guess, comeback surprises, unfortunately for you, Matt, was against your team. And so I can already tell by the look on your face, you've been dreading talking about this, but we got to talk about it. So, what happened to the Cowboys, Matt? What happened?
It's been what, 24 hours and I'm still speechless. I can't explain it. I really cannot explain it. I'm still in shock. But this is kind of what it's kind of seemed to be a theme right now. This is the second time they've blown a double-digit lead in the second half. The first time was against Green Bay. They were up 14 in the fourth, lost that game. Today or yesterday, up 27 to 10 in the third quarter, and we lose that game. So this is a cause for concern for me because I would say, one time, everybody has a bad game, but anytime it happens multiple times, I'm a little concerned. And what happened was two things, really. Actually, three things. Number one, my defense. I was so high on this defense from the start of the year. And especially as we got to the middle of the year, I thought this was the best team or best defense in the NFL. I can no longer make that case anymore. It's not valid. I'm going to have to hand that title to the 49ers. But I still thought this was going to be a top five defense. Hey, top five defense, that's a Super Bowl caliber defense. Um, but when you have a legit defense, as we call them, I don't care how bad your quarterback is, you get a double digit lead in the second half, that needs to be a win. Even if the offense scores zero from that point on. Once you get a double digit lead, and if you're that defense, you got to close that game out. And it was just a lack of everything. And it's kind of started, from the first quarter, if you could say. They really didn't stop Jacksonville, really. It was more them stopping themselves, right? ETN had that fumble in the first half. Trevor Lawrence threw a pick in the second half as well. He also fumbled. But really, outside of that, they weren't punting. They were just marching right down the field. Starting up front, you know, my guy, Micah Parsons, had a sack in the beginning of the game. I thought, okay, here we go. He's starting to come alive. But he went no show for the rest of the game. If you're the best defensive player in the league, which I think he is, it's Jacksonville. No offense. I know you guys won, but you're still Jacksonville. Why are you not making an impact? Right? 11 from heaven. You got to do your thing. D.O.L.L.A. I didn't hear his name all game. You got to do your thing. You're a Pro Bowl player. You're the vet. You got to show up. Even Dorrance Armstrong, he got injured, unfortunately, which is, unfortunately causing to be a common thread here is this Dallas team was so healthy in the beginning part of the season. Now we are just being ravished by injuries. Dorrance Armstrong went down Leighton Vander Esch went down, and Nashawn Wright. Probably people have no idea who that guy is, but he's our backup's backup at corner. And boy, we need him because our backup got burnt toast by Zay Jones. Zay Jones gave him the business. And for those of you who don't know who I'm talking about, that's Mr. Bossman Fat, Kelvin Joseph, who was the worst player in the game by far. Dallas gets up 27-10. I'm like, okay, this is perfect. We got him right where we want. And you give up a 50-yard touchdown to Zay Jones. Like, how? Like, just tell me how. You're up 3 possessions. That's the last thing you can do is give up a bomb touchdown like that so quickly. Like, I can't even explain that. That's just terrible. Terrible technique. That's not even coaching. That's all in the player. You got to know you're up 3 scores. You have no business getting beat deep. If you get beat by under routes, curl routes underneath for 10 yards, that's fine. I can live with that. But you cannot be giving up a big play touchdown like that to give them all the momentum. And then, we can get into this guy a little bit later, but, Dak and his whole play of this game was a lot of, talk as well. But man, the defense just was bad. And even when we get later into the game, Dallas gets the lead back 37-34. We need one stop. We don't get that. Yeah, they forced a fumble, but if you're that championship defense, you got to close that out. And they didn't make the plays that they needed to make.
It's like this.
Hey, I don't care if they were a fingertip away, Donovan Wilson. You were a fingertip away from saving this game, but you still didn't make the play.
Oh, it's so tough.
You didn't make the play. And if it's frustrating because this is a championship defense and we didn't show up. And if we can't win that way, we ain't going anywhere in the playoffs. By the way, we are in the playoffs, which is why I'm like, I don't know how to feel right now. We had an embarrassing loss, but we're in the playoffs. Thank you, New York. But, anyway, the defense was bad enough. Deron Bland probably was the only star of the game. He was outstanding. He's probably going to be the outside corner in the basic packages. And then once they go to nickel, he's going to move to the slot. And who knows who's going to be the outside corner from there. But as always, we always got to talk about this player every week. Why is it always that Dak Prescott is being talked about on this show? He just always does things bad. He's just bad. Did he play bad the whole game? No, he didn't. He actually had a pretty efficient game, I will say. But he made one pass that costed us the game, you could say. You cannot be throwing an interception in your own end zone, especially one, it's 2nd and 18. What are you doing trying to force the ball into tight coverage? And 2, look at what just happened. Kelvin Joseph gets beat for a 50-yard touchdown. Now Jacksonville's got all the momentum. The absolute last thing you want to do is turn the ball over. I'm honestly fine with a punt because at that point, yeah, we got beat on a 50-yard bomb, but it's not like they methodically just beat us down the field, right? I didn't see it in that second half yet. So I need to see that first before I start getting worried. But you give them a short field and boom, they're right back in the game. Like, it's those plays that are going to limit this team. And it really is Dak Prescott going to determine this season. He doesn't make that pick. Just do the math. We will win in the game. We win that game. He makes $75 million. He leads the NFL in turnovers since he's been back.
Yeah, it's not a good stat.
That's terrible.
Not a good stat.
You make $75 million, and I got a guy on the bench who should be playing named Cooper Mother Bleeping Rush, right? The most boring quarterback, but I love him because he plays the game the right way. He just takes care of the ball. I don't need flash. I don't need to be, hey, I'm Dak Prescott. Look at me. I'm the face of the Cowboys. One, you're not. It's Micah Parsons. So get over it. Stop trying to steal his thunder. And two, your object is to win games. And you said in your last press conference against the Texans, you need to do a better job of taking care of the ball, right? You say the exact same things every single week with nothing to changing. You know what that's called? Insanity. Dak Prescott, you're insane with the way that you're playing. You cannot be turning over the ball like that. That's why all myself included, as well as the rest of Cowboy Nation, we can't take it already. It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating. But I always rip on him every day or every week. I'm gonna rip on him the next time because it's just a weekly thing. So I'll save him a little bit of grace. But that I'll say this one thing: the last pick wasn't his fault. That was all Noah Brown. Got to make that catch.
Yeah,
But
that's tough.
honestly, like the defense and Dak, it's just kind of a theme. But I cannot let the coaching staff off the hook on this one, especially not Mike McCarthy to say Kellen Moore. He might be. I think I honestly don't like him more than Mike McCarthy. Like he's awful. He's awful. His head is just ridiculous. Let's just start with some of the basic things. It's like he's so predictable. And the Jaguars, credit to them, they figured out what they were doing. Do you know how many times like I was just screaming at the TV? How many times Dallas had first down runs up the middle? It was just like every first down, we're running it up the middle. Like, can you guys do something different? And it's like, you notice that when you guys do a play action on first down, you guys had a pretty successful play and yardage gain. So, I'm not saying you got to run it up the middle every single time or don't run it. It's called balance. If you run it one time, don't do it again. Run it to the outside, run a play action boot, like change it up. They were just hellaciously rushing the box and we're always getting put in second and long. And then that's when, Dak Prescott gets to be Dak Prescott. And then, when you get him in bad situations like that, he's going to make mistakes. So you got to play complementary football and stop being so predictable. That's what this offense is. It's so predictable. That's why I can't stand him. And then let's get to the end of the game management. So Dallas, they get that fumble from Trevor Lawrence. The defense makes the play. Now it's like, okay, we need a
Yeah,
first
this
down.
this was pretty.
We need a first down to win the game. So they run it on first down up the middle. Shocker. But at the end of the day, we're trying to make them burn their timeout. So whatever. They run it twice. Now it's third down and 10. They got one timeout left in Jacksonville. And my initial reaction was, let's go win this game. Like I was okay with them passing. Let's win it because third and 10. To the most part for this game, outside of that one throw, I was like, Dak's been pretty good. He's $75 million man last year. This is why you paid him. Make the big play. And the play call happens, and we throw a go route to not CeeDee Lamb, but Noah Brown. And it's incomplete. And so we punt the ball, but lo and behold, because Jacksonville has that timeout, that's why they got that field goal to send it to overtime. I mean, I like I said, I wanted them to get that first down. I was okay with the pass, but not a 40-yard go route. Like what? It's not third. Like I couldn't believe it. Like you can play action, just a simple bootleg, just throw it in the flat. You could just call a screen. I like that's fine. Call a screen to CD, and hopefully he makes a couple guys miss. And I was okay with honestly, I would have been okay with a run too, because at worst you at least burn the timeouts. But why do you call a 40-yard go route And one, you don't even throw it to your best receiver. Like, you throw it to Noah Brown. Not even Michael Gallup. Like, Michael Gallup is your deep guy who's gonna make those jump ball catches. You didn't even call it to him. Just out of this world ridiculous. Like, Kellen Moore is awful. I really hope he gets a job somewhere else. Like, he should be a head coach, just not for my team. Because I can't stand them already. It's everything. And this is credit to Jacksonville. They took advantage of us, but all three phases, offense, defense, special teams, yeah, okay, maybe they got a pass. But coaching, it was all a nightmare. It was all a nightmare. And it's so awkward because Dallas clinches that playoff spot thanks to the Giants. And it's like, I don't know how to feel. We just had an embarrassing loss. We're not going to win the division, most likely. Um, but yeah, it's an ugly game. And I was so excited to play Philly. And now it's just like, whatever. Let's just play Philly. They might not even have Jalen Hurts now. So all that hype of that game, it's just the life just got sucked out. And at this point, I'm just praying that we just get the 5 seed. We get the 5 seed and we play whoever wins the NFC South. And we probably won't know until the last week of the season. But what an ugly game. I'm done. I'm done with this game. Let's talk about your disaster in Buffalo.
Oh
I'm
man,
done. I'm
you're
done with this
that was a
team.
lot. You said a lot there, bud. It's like I don't even know where I could have jumped in there. I will just say though, like this game felt so competitive, right? For most of the game, Jacksonville's coming back. And then after you guys scored, um, with that long touchdown to put you guys up 34-31. From there, the rest of the game, it's like, okay, I don't want to win the game. Here, you go in the game. No, you go in the game. Right? Like I I think Trevor Lawrence, so we had him. I think we both had him as our second best quarterback at the end of last year, right? Right
Mm-hmm.
behind Justin Fields. And those two guys have been playing really well. And I think Trevor Lawrence is starting to take that next step. But this one, I mean, I I don't it's hard to fault him because he's trying to make a play for his team. He got the first down, right? Huge run, but it was almost a Marcus-esque play to me, like Marcus Mariota-esque play. Kind of like make a huge play for your team. You're trying as hard as you can. You want to do the best you can, but then costly fumble that quite frankly should have cost the game
Yep.
for them. Should have cost the game. I don't fault him. He's gonna learn from that. But in that situation, they did not deserve to win off of that, right? So I get the frustration, and to me, uh, yeah, I usually am a Dak defender, I guess you could say, at least against you. But to me, that 3rd and 10, right? I don't know if this is not communicated between McCarthy, Kellen Moore, or Dak, or if whatever the communication is there. But to me, if I'm the coach, I'm telling Dak, okay, 3rd and 10, right? We're looking for the first down. It should be first down, completion, or eat it, right? Those are the orders. You do not want uh like you said, an incomplete pass, right? So to me, right, that play took kind of long. I don't know if that's Dak just going through his progressions and he's like, I got Noah Brown one-on-one. Now let me go chuck it and see, hope he catches it, right? To me, it should be like, you have your first down route, which I'm guessing is CD, right? You have him run whatever route he's gonna run to try to get first down. If that's not there, okay, take your check down, eat the clock, right? Make Jacksonville burn the timeout. And if nothing is there, you just gotta eat it, right?
Take a
Like
sack.
take the
Take
sack.
the sack.
Exactly. Sack is way better there because I don't think without a timeout and you got your $9 million punter back there, pins them back deep, right? No, with no timeouts to get into field goal range, I don't know if Jacksonville is able to do that. So to me, that was kind of my only knock against Dak there. But anyway, yeah, I know it was a rough game. We don't have to talk about it anymore. Sucks for you guys, but at least you got into the playoffs, and we'll get into that game later. It's gonna be a long NFL segment here, but I guess let's get into my game, if you want to call it that. So the Dolphins went up to Buffalo, lost a close one, 29-32. Tyler Bass game-winning field goal as time expired. And it was a primetime game in the sense that it was the Saturday night game, right? So a lot of eyes watching. And honestly, I thought Tua played okay. I thought he had some good moments. Had some moments where he probably could have played a little better, like placed the ball a little bit better. But I'm not gonna say they lost because of him, right? Early on in the game, they had goal to goal situation. Tyreek Hill hit him right in the hands, dropped. Right, it was a tough catch, but that's a catch that you expect Tyreek Hill to make. I think. I mean, hit him in both of his hands, right? And then Trent Sherfield, who's been a pretty solid third wide receiver. We thought it was gonna be Cedric Wilson this year, but it's actually been Trent Sherfield. And third and goal, Tua threw it low, so he doesn't get creamed at the goal line. He goes down to make the catch and just drops it. They have to settle for three there. Thought that was that one hurt. Um, to be goal to go like that, not be able to get six there, especially against Buffalo. That was a big loss. That play right there. But overall, not too. I was out. I guess moral victory. You could say it was a moral victory, but it was good to see the offense get back on track in this environment, right? They're going, like I said, going into Buffalo. Buffalo already, lost to them earlier the year, so they were going to be hungry. The fans were chucking snowballs.
Crazy.
Um, yeah, and it was cold, right? Everyone's Tua can't play in the cold. This warm weather team, how are they going to be able to play in the cold? And I thought for the most part, they showed, at least on offense, they showed that you know Mike McDaniel made the adjustments he needed to make and got that run game on track. And I think that run game was huge for them, right? Mostert exploded. I mean, 136 yards on 17 carries. Quite frankly, I wish they ran the ball a little bit more. Uh, there are a couple third and shorts there that I think Mike he just needs to commit a little bit more, to that run game. Just trust it a little bit more. Uh, you know, but anyway, overall, I thought this was a good bounce back game for Miami. They just look so bad the past two games. To do this against arguably one of the best teams, in the NFL, if not the best team right now, in the NFL, at home, in the cold, hostile environment, right? I thought it was pretty impressive. They didn't away with the win, which is kind of what matters, but they're still in it. They control their own destiny. There are 3 games left, and they got Green Bay, New England, and the Jets. All are winnable games that I think they can win. Hopefully finish 11-6, but we'll have to see. Um, but to me, the thing I really think that Miami's going to need to figure out is how they're going to create some sort of pass rush, right? So to me, I know I focus more on the offense, right? Usually with Tua and everything, but I'm not so concerned about this offense anymore. I think Mike did what he had to do, and they found their identity. Run the ball, use Tyreek and Jalen in space. Kind of what we already figured, right? On defense, though, man, I just gotta say Bradley Chubb, who I thought was gonna be the missing piece for this team, right? We lose Emmanuel Ogba, who had been our best pass rusher the past 2 years, right? Okay, Bradley Chubb, perfect. We're paying him all this money. He's gonna be the guy to take us and that defense over the top, right? Where has he been? Like he's
He's
just
been
been
hanging out with Micah Parsons.
honestly, I don't know what's going on. He has been a complete and quite frankly a disappointment because we're not paying you to be a guy to eat up a block. we're paying you, right? The Dolphins are paying you to win one on one. And I don't know what's going on with him right now, but he's not winning the one on one battles. It's one thing to be Aaron Donald, right? And take up two guys, right? Or Michael Parsons or Bosa or Watt, right? Like to have two guys concerned to you. But when we're rushing four and they're dropping five, you're not getting chipped. You're not really getting doubled anymore because Christian Wilkins has been so dominant for us on the as a defensive tackle. He has a lot of one-on-one matchups. And Jalen Phillips, the other edge rusher,
He's
I,
playing
I
well.
really
I
like
like him.
him. I like him. He plays really hard. His effort is there. He's fast too. He's fast for an edge. I think he just needs to develop the pass rush techniques a little bit more, and he'll be there. So I'm not, you know, too concerned with him because I just love his motor. He just has such a high motor. Even the sack that he had, the forced fumble that he had on Josh Allen, right? He didn't really win. He kind of got pushed out, past Josh Allen, but he stayed with the play, hustled, looped all the way, came all the way back around behind Josh Allen, got in there for the strip sack, and that's what I love the most about his game. But like I was going back to Bradley Chubb, man, we need him to start winning some of these one on ones. We're paying him all this money, right? Our defense is banged up right now. Javon Holland went out for a brief moment in this game. We're missing Eric Rowe in the back end. I don't even talk about Byron Jones anymore because he hasn't played in pretty much like going on 2 years now, right? But so this team is not 100% healthy. We lost Brandon Jones earlier. He was our starting safety as well. So this defense is kind of banged up. We need guys, especially the front four, to get pushed. When it's Zach Sealer, I don't even know if you know who that is, Matt. Zach Sealer, he's our one of our defensive tackles. Christian Wilkins is a beast now. I think teams are starting to pay attention to him, but they're just leaving Bradley Chubb out one on one, and he's not winning. And that's like we got him to go get Josh Allen, to go get Patrick Mahomes, to go get Joe Burrow in the fourth quarter. That is what we are paying him that kind of money to do. And that last drive, Josh Allen sitting in the pocket, just picks apart this defense. And I'm just it that was probably the most frustrating thing to me because I thought the offense played well enough. Probably, obviously could have played better, right? They could have put the game away, a couple more scores in the fourth quarter, right? I get it. But you put up 29 against Buffalo in the cold and that type of environment, like you don't expect Buffalo's defense to give up 29, right? So I thought, just a little disappointed from the defense. And I'll allude to the play calling a little bit too here because I don't really talk about it too much. But the trend that I've been noticing this year uh with our DC is I don't get why he will blitz on like a third and short, right? So it's like third and four, third and three, right? He'll send five or six guys. And what do the good quarterbacks do? They find their hot, just check it down to the flat or the quick hitter across the middle, and we pick up the first down. Then it's like third and 13, second and 17. That one of those drives, Buffalo started deep in their own territory, is second and 17, right? That's when he chooses to only rush four, drop into zone, and what Josh Allen, oh, right over the middle, Gabe Davis first down. It's I like it's just like the calls to me like that. He's such an aggressive, play caller, but he's just gonna sit back and let, Josh Allen, oh, I'm just gonna sit here, right? Oh, let me just roll out. Like there's no contain. I don't oh, it's so frustrating to watch. Yeah. But so I just hope, some of the defensive play calling gets shored up. We get healthy again because this is the pivotal 3 game stretch now for Miami. They control their own destiny, right? The fate is in their hands. So if they win out, they're in. Even if they win, I think even if they win 2 out of the next 3, they're in. So they have a decent chance of sneaking in at the 7. Hopefully they're either the 6 or the 5 seed. We'll have to see how the other teams do, but I have faith because Baltimore's slipping, you know. Um the Chargers, I know they're they got Justin Herbert, but it's just something about the Chargers that they could lose to any team on any week. Like, doesn't matter who they play. And the Jets and the Patriots right now just do not look good, especially Zach Wilson's back in. Um, this is Miami's playoff spot to lose, in my opinion. So they go out, take care of business. They're back. They should be back on track. They get Green Bay at home. Green Bay, they're not quite that same team anymore. Even against the Rams tonight, I know they beat them by multiple scores, but it didn't. It looked too hard, I guess. Um, but yeah, that's my assessment. It was a frustrating one for sure. I don't even want to talk about the penalty calls. Maybe I'll brush on that later. But yeah, that was.
Well, I think I want to ask, what's your like on a scale like 1 to 10? How confident are you that they'll get in the playoffs?
I'd say I'm at like an 8 or 9. I'm pretty confident they're gonna get in the playoffs. You know, like I said though, if they looked like how they looked against the Niners or the Chargers in Buffalo, I'd probably be at a 3. Uh, like my confidence would be pretty low, even if they were still 8-6, right? But because it was just a mix of everything, right? Josh Allen, Bills, freezing cold, right? The snow falling, for to be a warm weather team and come out and show up like that against probably one of the best. I mean, Buffalo's the 1 seed, right, in the AFC. So um to do that against the best seed in the division, I thought that was pretty impressive. So I'm just hoping they're not satisfied. They're still hungry for that win. Can end it on 3-game win streaks. So I'd say I'm about a 9, 8 or 9. So I'm assuming you're probably at an 8 or 9 too for your Cowboys, right?
I'm at a 10. They're in the
Oh yeah.
playoffs.
Oh yeah, they are in the playoffs. All right. Well, we got a lot of other games to talk about, so I'll cut mine pretty short. If they lose to Green Bay, I'm flipping out though. They better not lose to they better not lose to Green Bay on Christmas. That's gonna ruin my Christmas right there if they lose to Green Bay. I
Well, how do you think
promise.
I'm gonna feel if we lose to the Eagles on Christmas? Oh my goodness, like that's not
At least
good.
you're in the playoffs, so come on.
But it's the Eagles. They're so nasty. Like their team, the fans, they're all evil. They're just evil to the core. Like we don't want to lose to them.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's hope for wins for. So we both have a happy Christmas then.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. All right. No, this is gonna be a long football segment. We're probably gonna go past our break, but which game should we talk about to end our football session? We got a lot. We could go a lot of different ways. Uh, you know what? Let's talk about. I want to talk about the play first. We got 6 minutes. Let's talk about the play, and I think you know which play I'm talking about because there's one specific play from this weekend that a lot of people that I've seen on the internet are calling the dumbest play in NFL history, right? Uh Unfortunately, it happened to the one Patriot I like, Jacoby Myers. I actually like Jacoby Myers. It's probably my favorite Patriot, but he was just trying to do too much and no time left, right? Tie game. You lateral the ball back 25 yards to Mac Jones. Oh my
He's
god.
also a meme. I mean, what was that tackle attempt too? He just
Okay.
got
We gotta
got
talk.
face
There's
planted
so
by
many
Chandler Jones.
so
Like
many things we need to
what?
talk about, right? So first of all, I respect Bill for going for the lateral play, right? Because he got burned by it by Miami. You remember that a couple years ago or
The
several
Miami
years ago, the
Miracle.
Miami Miracle, right? When Miami burned the Patriots on that last second lateral play. So Bill's probably
With
thinking
Gronk.
like, "Hey, they could do that. We could do that." Uh, so they tried. I mean, they got to midfield, but that's just Jacoby Myers, not trying to be a hero, trying to keep the play alive. Number one, he threw it to the worst athlete on the field for sure. Probably the worst athlete on both sides, including kickers. I'm just gonna throw that out there, right? So
Wow,
you're throwing
really?
it to
Over a
Mac
kicker?
Jones over a kicker. I'm gonna say, did you see that tackle attempt? At least kickers have to tackle the opposing. Like, okay, granted, they're not tackling Chandler Jones, right? Who's a freak
Chandler Jones
athlete.
is 3 times Mac Jones' size,
John
so
Jones's brother with an art with like one of the longest reaches in the NFL, and we saw that on that play because he planted Mac Jones through Allegiant Stadium into the Earth's core and just completely buried him. Uh, he like dug his grave, just slammed him into the face of the earth. But okay, come on, Mac Jones, you're okay. You're not an athlete. You're not. Sorry, you're not. Not you're not an athlete. You're not a defensive back. You're not a defensive player. But that might be the saddest tackle I've ever seen. Like, what was he? He didn't lunge, right? He didn't lunge at the legs. It's like he was trying not to get hit, and then he remembered, oh, I have to make a tackle at the same time, and he's kind of like falling and like praying Chandler Jones trips over one of his arms, kind of thing. Like, oh my god. And I gotta say, I'm happy for the Raiders fans, right? Last week after their after the week they had last week, you know, uh I just gotta say I'm happy the Raiders got this win because, well, number one, it helps out Miami, right? They beat New England. So now New England 7-7. That's a big loss for them. And yeah, Raiders fans, I guess it's the way you guys have to win games on
notice
defensive
they're the other way
touchdowns.
around
Yeah,
too.
it's usually it's happening to the Raiders, so it must feel good for them to be on the other side of a play like this for once. But oh my good, I can't even imagine what that locker room in New England must have been like after. I just
I think Bill lost the locker room, Like or if not, it's pretty close to being lost.
I don't
Like
know.
Mac Jones is going like all hell on loose on Matt Patricia. I think like those two are just they're not working. And I don't think you would see this with a Tom Brady led Patriot team in terms of that lateral. Because I feel like, okay, we're tied. But we got Tom Brady on our team. Let's just win the coin toss and we win the game. So it's like with all these things to keep in mind, maybe that's why they were so aggressive. I don't know. I
Just
don't know.
no faith in that offense
No,
because
yeah.
even
They don't look very good on offense. That's why.
yeah, their offense, yeah, does not look too great. I mean, they're like turning into a Titans offense to me. Like Ramondre Stevenson is the offense. Everything else, like, good luck. You play around that. Oh, that was a what a play, man. Probably play of the week, play of the year for sure. All right, well, we'll get to a quick break here. We'll be back with more football, so stick around. We still got a lot more to talk about. All right, let's talk more football, Matt, because like we said, craziest weekend of the year for sure. Probably craziest weekend we've had in the past several years. So let's get to another game, a historic game, a historic game for the Vikings. Uh, Now part of probably the top two games of the year, I would say. They had the Buffalo game that was impressive, but this one is arguably, I want to say more impressive. It just had to be against the Colts, though, right? Colts are turning into one of those teams, I think, where it's just you're surprised when they win a game now, especially after this past weekend. But I'm sure Riley's happy. So let's get in to the Purple Vikings, right? So the Vikings pulled off officially now the largest comeback in NFL history, regular season, postseason, whatever. 33 points, Matt. So with I
Ish.
believe 8.5 minutes to go, that was the last time it was 33-0. 8 minutes to go in the third quarter, right? It was 33-0. And the Vikings go on to win the game in overtime, 39-36, right? And I even think the refs tried to screw the Vikings out of this win. Uh, I don't know what was going on with the refs this whole weekend. We'll get into it a little bit. Um, one play I thought that was pretty, big, and I thought was gonna, quite frankly, I thought was gonna bury the Vikings was the no fumble call on Marlon Mack. Oh, sorry, no, not Marlon Mack. Zach Moss traded. On Zach
Marlon Mack.
Moss. Yeah, sorry, not Marlon
Ex
Mack.
Colt.
Ex Colt. On Zach Moss, right? So, I thought I had been seeing a trend this year that fumbles that are kind of close, right? Usually the refs this year have been leaning towards not blowing the play dead, right? Letting it go to review. And, if it's a fumble, okay, great. The other team gets to play it out, right? Play the rest of the play out. This one was so weird because usually when a play is blown dead, you'll hear like whistles. But even I don't know if it was so loud or what it was the broadcast didn't pick up the whistles, but we saw the ball come out. The Vikings guy picked up, ran with it. But it was like he wasn't celebrating. It's like he kept looking back. He's like, "What's the call?" Right? Like, what's going on? They ended up ruling it not a fumble on the field, I guess. But it wasn't
No,
even
they they
close.
they called it a fumble, but they just blew the play dead. So they couldn't advance the ball. Like the Vikings ended up getting the ball,
Yeah.
but they don't get that touchdown.
So, just I don't like. I was like, wow, the Vikings are gonna lose because of this, and they almost did, right? Because they didn't even end up scoring on that drive. Uh, it was fourth down, and Kirk tried to run, and he didn't get there. So I was like, man, they're so screwed. But this to me is a classic game. And now it's gonna be like 3 weeks of me talking about this theme of teams with a lead. Okay, granted, 33-0 is ridiculous. But still, the logic applies. Playing with a lead and you're playing not to lose, right? You score 33 points. Okay, granted, you only scored one of those touchdowns on offense. Right? I know your offense is not very good. You lost Jonathan Taylor. Uh, you haven't been able to do anything with Matt Ryan all year, but still, right? You try to put the game away one more score at least, right? But I mean, leave it to the Colts. Screen passes, short throws, you know, runs up the middle. Like it was turning into like three and out, three and out, three and out, three and out. And you know, it's not like Minnesota played a perfect second half either, which is even more mind-boggling to me because 33-0, you would think every, drive by Minnesota after that is going to be a score, right? You just got to figure, right? That's the only way they can come back. But no, like they were punting. Um, they punted once in the second half. Kirk threw a pick, and they got turned over on downs. Um, with what was it like 30 seconds or something? Oh no. With 2.5 minutes left, they got turned over on downs. And the Colts were up 8, right? And this is the I don't want to rip on Jeff Saturday here, man. Okay. I don't want to, but I have to. Okay.
That's your guy, that's why, from the old
I
days.
don't want to, but I have to. And this is why. Okay. So, you know, I don't like the going against or I don't like the playing to lose, right? I've said that multiple times now. I don't like the conservative, oh, we just want to waste as much clock as we can, uh just try to run out the clock. I don't like that approach. But if you're gonna do it, stick to it, right? Stick to the conservative play. Now I just brought up that the downs, right? They got turned over on downs, right? Minnesota got turned over on downs. Then here come the Colts with a chance to put the game away, right? So it's 4th and 1 now, right? On the Minnesota 36. You're on the 36-yard line. Chase McLaughlin, your kicker, has been lights out the whole game. The whole game. He's making kicks, right? Your offense has done nothing to move the ball the whole game. Even though you had 33 points, your offense did nothing. So instead of taking a 50 something yard field goal try, you're going to try to go for it on 4th and 1 when you haven't been able to do anything. Like, just the logic in that already, to me, I get it's 4th and 1, but you've been playing conservative this whole time. Like, honestly, a punt even would be better to me if you're just trying to run clock at that point, right? Because Minnesota needs a touchdown plus the 2-point conversion. So if you're really just going to try to bleed the clock out some more, you don't trust your kicker, at least punt to have them, inside their own 20, make them go the length of the whole field with what actually they didn't even have timeouts already. They didn't have timeouts. I'm pretty
Yeah, they
sure
burned them
Minnesota,
all.
they burned them all, right? So, like, you're choosing not to be, I'm not going to be aggressive. Nope. Conservative, conservative, conservative. Oh, 4th and 1. Yep, let's go for it. Like, you had no momentum the whole game. And, like, it's just a flip flop, no commitment to your plan. I don't even know if there was a plan. That's the thing. If I'm a Colts fan, and I know one Colts fan, my friend, I I can't even imagine like what it's like.
Yeah, I
Um,
got a Colts friend too.
so I just gotta
It
say
it's rough.
that was, to me, that sequence right there. That's that lack of coaching to me. Um, like, to me, you just got to pick a play style and commit to it. So yeah, that was my vent.
I know this is ticky tack too, but on that same play, I was like, Matt Ryan. We're not even going to talk about Matt Ryan because he's also making history with this loss
Oh,
because he's blown the
poor
biggest Super
Matty
Bowl
Ice.
lead and blown the biggest NFL regular season lead. So he's just, he's going to be remembered as the biggest choker in the NFL, which is unfortunate. But on that fourth down play, I thought it was weird because it's a sneak, but it's like when he was like he snapped the ball, but it's like he was like holding the ball like to his body, like he
Yeah, it
wasn't
was
even
like not
extend
like
it.
high
It
and
was
to your
like
chin, right? He's like holding it
like yeah.
like by his waist, kind of like
Yeah,
the
like it
ball
was
is
behind
behind him.
him. Yeah, exactly. And you're a veteran quarterback, Matt. Like how many quarterback sneaks have you done in the NFL? A lot. Like that was terrible. It just looks so awkward. And sure enough, that's probably why they didn't get it in the first place. And he's a big dude. Like he can, find that little crease
He's
and
not like
extend that over the
Kyler.
line.
He's not
No,
like
he's 6'4", right? He's pretty tall. It's like that was the ugliest quarterback sneak. Like I just thought that was so awkward, just the way that he didn't extend the ball or like even try to extend the ball in that case. It's like you got Jeff Saturday and Matt Ryan. What a perfect combination. I mean, just two, I wouldn't say like losers, but just just not winning pedigreed guys right now in the NFL.
I mean, it's still
And it's
early
just
on Jeff Saturday, I guess, but what I've seen so far, he got a long ways to go to being a good coach. At
I think
least
Matt Ryan needs to call it a career too. He looks pretty washed.
that offense, man. Just, I mean, they got a super young play caller too. I think the guy's like 30. So he's not that much older than us calling plays. Um, yeah, it's I mean, that pretty much that killed you guys too, though, because now the Vikings are 11-3. So
Well, it doesn't matter for us now because we can't, if we don't win the division, the Vikings don't really matter in a sense because
I
the
mean,
highest you would be is a five.
I guess so. Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, I don't know. How you feeling on Minnesota? You sold on them?
Absolutely not. Do you think I'm, as a Cowboy fan, I'm afraid of Minnesota? Of course not. I don't think we're gonna play them in the first round though, which is fine because I'm banking that we at least get the five seed. And I really hope it's Carolina or something like that. That would be great. But probably gonna be Tampa, I still think. And Brady in the playoffs is another animal. So it'll be a challenge. But Minnesota, do I think they're gonna go past the second round? Probably not, to be honest. I think they'll win that first round matchup though.
Yeah, I could see them winning that first round matchup. Because I mean, as much as the Colts choked, you got to give some props to Minnesota for not throwing in the towel. I mean, 33 to
Oh,
0,
absolutely.
33 to 0 is that is ridiculous, man. Like you can't even do that in Madden. 33 to 0 and come back, right? So, I mean, props to the Vikings. They got grit. They to me, the one key thing about this Vikings team is that they're kind of the opposite of the Bills in the sense that they thrive in these close games. In the close games, one score games, I think they're undefeated. I think they're 9-0 in one score games this year. So if they hang around teams, they just have shown it at least this year. Kirk has been getting the job done when it counts. Maybe this is just a one-off year, who knows? But at least this year, they're a threat. So I'm not sleeping on the Vikings uh in the NFC anymore.
But the Vikings, what's tricky is at times you can see, right, that second half, like they were just clicking offensively. Obviously, they came back 33-0. So you see the firepower. But at the same time, look at how they played in the first
Yeah, they got
half.
blanked.
They look like hot garbage. And look at what they did against Dallas. Like they're capable of being really, really bad. And if you get that game in the first round of the playoffs,
That's it.
bye.
Yep,
You're done. Season's over.
that's
So you
true.
can't have that inconsistency. And maybe any other team except the Colts, they don't win that game. So let's put a little bit of context into that.
All right.
But I can't see the Vikings having such the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. It's like there needs to be some kind of middle point. Got to balance that. So that's why I wouldn't get too hyped on the Vikings yet. But you got to give them credit. They are 11-3. Records don't lie.
That's tough to win in the NFL. You can ask Mr. Brady that because he is starting to notice how tough it is out here, like the regular guys in the NFL. Um, you know, Mr. Burrow versus Mr. Brady. Uh, Always nice to see like the up and coming guys play the GOAT, see how they're gonna do. But the struggles continue for the Bucs this year, Matt. You know, up 17-0 against the Bengals, and this is Tom Brady's, I believe, biggest or worst loss uh off a lead like that. So 17-point lead, pretty much going, I mean, 17-3 going into the half, right? That's a game you expect a Tom Brady led offense to win. But the turnovers in that third quarter, absolutely brutal. Just completely killed them. Bengals got hot in an instant, and once that offense gets rolling, yeah, good luck. Um, we can talk about all the turnovers and stuff, Matt, but I know you said that you're not scared of Tom Brady, but is this the least scared you've been of a Tom Brady led team? Like, there's a
Oh
good chance
yeah,
you guys will
for
play them.
sure.
There's a good chance I
Yeah.
think you guys will play them. But, you know, I mean, I get the turnovers are not going to happen every game, right? But for Tom to have a pick and a fumble, then the botched handoff, it's like, I don't know what is going on in Tampa Bay because they still have Mike Evans. They have Chris Godwin. They have Leonard Fournette. Julio Jones is playing. What is going on? I don't know what it is. I don't know what they can do to change it. Yeah, it just does not look good right now. I mean, they're 6-8 leading the division. Oh man, it's gonna be so ugly. But what is the answer, Matt? Do you think they're gonna figure it out? I don't know what the
See, I'm like always saying this when we talk about the Bucs, but I feel like they just go away. They don't run. They just whatever it is, they refuse to lean on the running backs. In the beginning of the year, right? We saw it against Dallas, the first game. Leonard Fournette just torched us. I think he had like 25 carries too, over 100 yards. They were pounding the rock. And I was like, okay, like if Lenny is gonna do this and complement Brady in the play action game, this team is, where I thought they were gonna be after that week one. They're gonna be dangerous. But even in this game, right? You're up 17-0. How do you not try to establish a ground game? Especially when you have the lead. Because now you can play from ahead, milk the clock. You get Brady play action. That's exactly what you want. And just the stats don't lie. Fournette had 10 carries. Rashad White had 11. Like I just don't think that's enough. And you're asking Brady, who's not at that MVP level right now, he's throwing 44 times. Like I just think they got to balance. It's like when we say about Miami too, even Dallas. I always say if Dak Prescott is throwing 50 times a game and they're running it 20 times, that's not good. I don't want my quarterback throwing that much. Got to be somewhere 50-50. And with the way Brady looks, I think they got to stick with that. Because I never even heard of him, but Rashad White this year kind of just bursted onto the scene. And I think he's a great complement to Fournette. Has a little more explosiveness um, and burst at this point than Lenny. So I need to see more of a ground game from Byron Leftwich. And I know him and Brady, they have that tight, relationship, but he's got to get away from Brady a little bit and take that pressure off of him. Gotta use those two backs more on the ground. But yeah, the Bucs this year, whew, they're a hot mess. And it
that's
starts with
it.
it starts with number 12 though, because I know unfortunately it's the off the field issues that I think,
Mm-hmm.
play a big part to that. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I don't know. You can't fix that, right? That's not a football related team thing. Like it's just his own personal issues that it's not gonna go away anytime soon. So I don't know. I don't know. But hey, this is the time to play Brady, I will say, in the
If
playoffs.
there's one year you want to do it, it's looking like this year.
Yep.
All right. Okay, let's shift over. What do I want to talk about next? Really quick, Niners Seahawks. Wanted to bring this one up. I'm sure this is the segment Michael looks forward to every podcast. So let's get into Mr. Relevant Brock Purdy playing that Cooper Rush esque style football, zero turnovers, control the game, right? Be accurate, get the ball out quick. And to me, if I'm a team in the NFC, the thing that probably scared me the most about watching that game, we know their defense is elite. Like I said after the Miami game, I thought they were the best defense in the league. Um, but if Mr. George Kittle starts to get used in the way
My
that
fantasy tight end.
the only thing you're happy about for a 49er offensive player is if they're on your fantasy team, of course. But yeah, if George Kittle starts to get going again, like to me, I don't like I know Shanahan's offense and I know it's a run, you know, scheme team and you get the ball to playmakers and Kittle is such a good blocker in the run game, but I've thought this for the past several years. I think that George Kittle is the best tight end uh when the ball is in his hands. Like I know Travis Kelsey, right? He's super hard to tackle, and we talked about it before. I don't get why he's so hard to tackle. I don't know if he's so fast or whatever, but uh it's like when George Kittle gets the ball, you need to put multiple guys on him to make a tackle because he's so strong and he runs so aggressively. Like he's gonna he's gonna make you pay if you try to tackle him one on one in the open field. Uh, that one breakout year, several breakout years he had. That was what the Niners did. They just got him the ball quick, let him go run. He gets 5-6 yards after contact, and he just consistently did that. So they didn't have Debo, right? So you have George Kittle now stepping up like that. Like this team is with Brock Purdy right now, they're rolling. And Seahawks, they're the opposite, right? They had such a good start to the season. Now they're starting to sputter. I think they were 6-3 in one point. Now they're 7-7. So they're starting to, get exposed a little bit. I still like their defense, like the rookies, but the offense slowing up just a little bit. And I'd be a little concerned if I'm Seattle. I don't know. I don't know if I'm buying them staying in the playoffs with how they're looking right now. I think another team in blue that's up north is gonna come in and swoop that spot from them. So I think the Lions are gonna beat out the Seahawks. But yeah, this 49ers team, Matt, I think they're looking like one of the top teams in the league right now.
Yeah, it pains me to admit that, but I agree. Their skill position players are, you know, I wouldn't say top one. I'll give them top five, but they're legit. Like you said, Kittle, he's dangerous in space. Obviously, we know McCaffrey, what he can do when he's healthy. Now, I do find it a little concerning that because Elijah Mitchell is hurt right now, that it is the Christian McCaffrey show. And it's just a common theme with these 49er running backs in the Kyle Shanahan offense. They always seem to get dinged up at some point. And I'm just wondering, it's like McCaffrey had 26 carries, 6 catches, 32 touches. That's a lot for a small dude. He's not Derrick Henry in size. So I'm just wondering, like, can they really keep this up? Especially now that they have the division on lock. Like, are they gonna keep
But they got another
just
guy,
running him in
Jordan Mason.
Jordan Mason?
That guy
Yeah,
is good too.
I know.
Like,
But that system, right? I feel like all the running backs can strive in this West Coast offense. So I worry if Shanahan gets too happy and too cute with McCaffrey that it might bite him late in the season because you don't want him to get hurt. So I'm a little concerned with that in terms of managing Christian McCaffrey's workload. But Brock Purdy, obviously he's the star, right? Because Jimmy G goes down. He was awesome. I really like what I see from him. His poise in the pocket and his football IQ. And I gotta point out this play. So late in the game, 49ers have the ball. They're just trying to milk the clock. They got a third down. Good play call by Shanahan, right? It was like a play action boot. It's kind of like that pass option where McCaffrey, the running back, goes out in the flat. So you make the edge defender take either the line or either take the running back, or if he bites to the quarterback, then you pitch it to the running back. Defender takes the running back. So Purdy slides, but he stays in bounds. And I was like, for him to have that presence of mind to stay in bounds and effectively win the game with that, I just thought that was a very, very highly intelligent play by Mr. Irrelevant. Because I don't know if many guys would be able to do that in
nah,
that
he's Mr.
situation.
Relevant now.
Oh
He's not
yeah,
Mr. Irrelevant no
exactly.
more.
And I personally, I'm not trying to rip on Trey Lance, but I don't know if he would do that. I really don't because he doesn't play that much on the field anyway. He didn't play a lot in North Dakota State, and he's barely on the field now in the NFL. So it's like he doesn't have the game experience. Brock Purdy was a 4-year starter at Iowa State, so he's been on the field. He's been in big games in the Big 12. And I think that experience in college, a lot of times we're like, oh, like, if you stay in college 4 years, you're probably not that good, just going to be a backup. But to some degree, it kind of helps you because you get live game experience, live reps. And with that IQ that Purdy has, I think that's going to be huge for them, especially going into the playoffs, because he's going to have to make that play if they're going to move on, because that's going to be their recipe for success is running out that clock late in the game. So I'll tip my hat to Mr. Purdy. I hope you do well, except when you play against my team, because
Of course.
I want to see them in the playoffs. Let me tell you that. I want some revenge
Okay,
from
so
last year.
the Fanatics are
And
ready
we all
for
know
the
who I'm calling out
rematch.
on this podcast. I mean, we everybody knows who I'm calling out. It's got the same last name as me, so we all know who that person is. But I want some revenge.
All right. Well, I'll be looking forward to that matchup. Um, okay, well, last football play or football game, I guess, want to talk about, and we'll skip to the fourth quarter, basically the last drive. So New York beats Washington to help Dallas clinch a playoff spot. So thank you to Mr. Saquon Barkley. Thank you to Mr. Kayvon Thibodeau for the Giants. But we got to talk about the last drive, right? So the Commanders are marching down the field, right? Heineke lays out, props to Kayvon Thibodeau coming up with a big stop,
Mm-hmm.
stopping Heineke at the one. Uh, but the refereeing in this game, I don't know. I don't want to say anything about rigged or what, but even I think the Fanatic will attest to there were some pretty questionable decisions made by the referees down the stretch here. So let's start with the Terry McLaurin penalty, right? So a video came out showing before the snap, right? Terry McLaurin checks with the line judge, right? He's like checking to see basically if he's in the right position uh on the ball. So when they mean on the ball, it's like to be lined up with the ball, pretty much, right? Uh so he checks, like he does like two takes to the ref, like giving him a thumbs up, basically asking if he is in a good spot. And so I guess the ref says, okay, you need to move up a little bit more. So Terry takes like a scooch up, asks again, and he claims that he heard the line judge say, okay, you're good. Sure enough, as soon as the ball snapped, the ref already had his hand on the flag.
His
He
hand
was
was
ready to
reaching into the
go.
pocket
He
already.
was ready to go, throws the flag. Then that backs them up because they ended up scoring on that play, but it didn't count, right? So that negates the touchdown, backs him up. And then Heineke last ditch effort on fourth down, uh, tries to get the ball to Curtis Samuel, who has one of the Giants DBs hugging him from the back, pretty much during the play. Uh, nothing's called, right? That to me, I thought there were a couple bad ones in the Miami game. None as blatant as that no call against the Commanders. So my heart goes out to Commanders fans because I am not even I don't care. I'm not Commanders fan at all. Not a Cowboys, whatever. I don't care. But to see that, yeah, that's tough, man. To have the officiating like that essentially rob you of a game. Uh, and it was a big game too, right? Because they would have been 8-5-1. So that would have been a huge win for Washington. Now instead that's the Giants, but I don't know. I Maybe it's scripted. Maybe they're like, let's get Dallas into the playoffs here. I'm sure you'd have no problem with
I'm
that.
not complaining. I had no complaints. Hey, you know what? I didn't even see anything. Great game,
Okay.
refs. Great
Okay.
game. Great game. You guys are awesome that game.
Okay. Even that had to be that was a little suspect, both of those plays.
Well, I will say the pass interference one, it is pass interference, but with the way the refs are, it's like we don't even know. But the McLaurin one, if what he's saying is true, that's bad. That's really bad.
especially because you could see the footage of him like
Yeah.
checking the thumbs up, right? Like,
Mm.
am I good? Am I good? And the ref is saying whatever he's saying, and then he's like, before the play is even, he's like, I'm throwing this flag no matter what. Like, there it goes. Yeah, that was a bad look. But in the end, it's a happy Fanatic. They're in the playoffs, so congrats, Matt. I gotta wait on my playoff celebration. Oh, okay. Well, that was a lot of football. We talked a lot of football. Take another break. I think we got all our football out from this crazy weekend. So we'll take another break here, everyone. And then we'll finish up with the rest of the sports that we talked about. Okay, so we talked so much about the American football. We got to talk about the other football, otherwise known as soccer here in America. The proper term now, since US beat or US US beat England, or no, we tied. We tied. See, it was so long I don't even remember anymore.
I don't
It
know.
was something I don't know. But we call it soccer here. So got to shout out the World Cup. Argentina won the World Cup. And we're not huge soccer guys. Obviously, we know some of the big names, right? And even it's so interesting how global soccer is, right? I don't even watch professional any type of professional soccer, right? I'll watch some Olympics. I'll watch the USA when they're on the World Cup, but I still even me, I know like I've known Messi and I've known Ronaldo, those big names that really dominate the sport. And even even the guy that doesn't watch soccer had I had a preference to the Messi Ronaldo uh like side. I don't even know if you would watch it that long ago, Matt, but I was always a Messi guy. I don't know if it
Me
was
too.
probably because he's not that physical. I mean, obviously he's fast, right? Fast, but it's more he's more skill based than he is like the athlete that Ronaldo was. And I don't know, something about like guys like that or like a Steph Curry, right? Or even you can look to baseball like uh guys that's more skill based. Usually it's more like guys I can relate to, right? Um so I was always more of a Messi guy, and so I was, I was rooting for Argentina. I was glad that they ended up winning, but man, it was a good World Cup. I mean, it was I think Argentina was up 2-0, and then Kylian Mbappe, that guy is a stud. That guy's only 23 years old. He has a chance of being the next GOAT. Like they're calling Messi the GOAT now that he won. Dude, Mbappe, he's only 23. This dude, I mean, he scored all three of their goals. He scored two more goals in like 20 minutes. It might have been within minutes of each other actually. To
It was like
right,
two
it was
minutes.
right. Two goals
Yeah.
in 2 minutes to tie the World Cup and send it to extra time. Then when Argentina scored, he scored again, right, to send it into penalties, and then he made his penalty. Just his teammates couldn't make it. So, I mean, soccer is a team sport, just like football in the sense that you rely on a lot of people, right? It takes a lot to get the job done. So, congrats, kudos to him. He had a great World Cup, but yeah, congrats to Argentina and Messi because he finally did it, and it feels good because I was a Peyton Manning fan and had to succeed. Tom Brady is the goat, right? It's like it's kind of hard to admit, but with the rings and everything he was, and then Kobe versus LeBron. I was a Kobe guy, obviously, right? Lakers, but LeBron had the better stats, longer career, not as many. He doesn't have five rings though, so Kobe has that on him at least. But as a player, I think everyone's kind of like would probably take LeBron over Kobe right now. So it feels good. I know it's not really in my sport, but at least I got Messi, the Messi side for once. So I know what that feels like now to be on the winning side. Um, so shout out to Argentina. Okay, well that's the only soccer we're ever going to talk on this podcast. So let's move on to baseball, the sport that we probably know the best. So I'm gonna run through a couple of these big names, Matt. I'll give you your time. But there were a lot of signings this past week. So Carlos Correa went to the Giants on a 13-year, $350 million deal. Pretty massive deal right
Goodness
there.
gracious.
For Carlos Correa. I mean, no comment. Uh, you got Rodon, the guy the Yankees have been, chasing after and wanting to get. They got their lefty starting pitcher, 6 years, 162 mil. Uh, Syndergaard to the Dodgers, Benintendi. I thought it was a big loss for you guys, but you don't seem too concerned. 5 years, 75 mil. Gallo to the Twins. Dansby Swanson. This one probably stung a little bit for me. 7 years to the Cubs. So I mean, he got his money, but I'll talk about what this means for the Dodgers in a bit. JD Martinez, we signed JD Martinez to a 1 year deal. Kind of sad to see Justin Turner go to the Red Sox. He's been such a vital part of our organization, and I wish him the best of luck in Boston. So, and then Michael Brantley returned to the Astros 1 year, but obviously Matt, for you, the big signing, Carlos Rodon, you got your guy.
Ooh.
I'm sure you're stoked. So, how you feeling?
So great. This is what I needed Hal Steinbrenner to do because we got Aaron Judge, and I was worried that they were going to be like, yes, we got Aaron Judge. We're good. We're not going to spend any more money. No, that's not how this works because Aaron Judge is the baseline. Like, we just get Aaron Judge because he's supposed to be on our team. We would get ridiculed if we lost him. We wouldn't go anywhere without him. But now it's like we're getting those pieces to start to come back. And by adding Carlos Rodon, I can say on paper, I think we're the best. We have the best starting rotation, at least in the American League. Maybe it might concede to the Mets on paper, but in the American League, with no Verlander in Houston, give me Garrett Cole in game one, give me Carlos Rodon in game two, give me Nestor Cortez in game three, give me Luis Severino in game four. And if it may be, you still have Frankie Montas as your number five. I'll take that. That's depth right there. And the key is staying healthy, obviously. So Herman's probably gonna get some starts. Clark Schmidt's gonna get some starts. Hopefully Luis Heel probably is gonna get some action this year. And then obviously Davy Garcia. So we got some young bucks in the minors ready and waiting. But I think this Rodon thing is huge, huge because the way that he pitches too, he's a power pitcher. He's got that swagger. That's the kind of guys that the Yankees like to get. Garrett Cole, Luis Severino, very passionate, animated guys. And with Carlos Rodon, he's the exact same build. And he wanted to be in the Bronx. It was a perfect match. And I thought the contract negotiation was actually pretty great by both sides, right? It was reported the Yankees wanted 5 years. Rodon's camp wanted 7. Happy medium. They get 6 years. That's great business right there. Great business by the Yankees. Great business by Rodon's camp. And I'm ready. The only thing that I'm a little, I wouldn't say worried, but we need to fix is we do need a left fielder. And right now we have Oswaldo Cabrera penciled in, but I think he's more suited to be kind of our utility man. He can play left field. Obviously, he can play right. He's a natural shortstop, so he can play in the infield, but he's more fitted, I think, to be that gadget guy. But we need an everyday left fielder, and it's not going to be Aaron Hicks. I don't care who it is. It's not him. We're going to release him. We should just cut him. I don't know. Trade him for a bag of chips. I don't know. Do whatever you need to do to not get him in the lineup. But Benintendi, yeah, I wanted him back, but I wasn't really expecting him to come back, to be honest. So now I'm kind of looking for the Yankees. Okay, who do we have left? Brian Reynolds. Are we going to trade for Brian Reynolds? It's going to cost a lot. I don't know how much, that's going to be, but Michael Conforto, I think, could be an option. I like him as another lefty bat. Max Kepler is out there. Not too sold on him, to be honest. He's a twin. We always own the Twins in the playoffs. I don't want to see them on my team, to be honest. I'm kind of just looking at Conforto at this point or Brian Reynolds, depending on the price. But that relief that we got Carlos Rodon is it feels good. It feels good to be a Yankee fan again for once because pretty sour note in October. So I'm okay right now. I'm at like a 7 in terms of satisfaction in this offseason so far.
I mean, a seven's not bad. Um, I'd be pretty happy if I were you guys. I'll just say, Correa, I'm looking forward to hating you even more for the next 13 years. So get ready for the loudest boos you've ever heard. Game one in Dodger Stadium. You thought it was bad when you were on the Astros. Just wait. Because we'll never forget. But you know, just I'll react to some of my Dodgers moves. So JD Martinez, I'm pretty happy because we got him pretty cheap. I know
That's a great signing for you
he hasn't
guys.
been peak JD Martinez, right? But I mean, he still hit 270, which nowadays that's 270, 280 is like hitting the new 300. Honestly, if we're being honest, with how good these pitchers are now, so that helps fill in a spot for us. And Noah Syndergaard, I'm really excited to see what this pitching staff can do with Syndergaard. Like I said, in the past, how we've turned guys that were, a little bit lackluster into, quite frankly, all-stars, right? Tyler Anderson this past year, we had Alex Wood the year before, and even Rich Hill before that. I mean, I know they're all lefties, but we've done a pretty good job at developing pitchers who, weren't at considered a high quality starter and turning them into high caliber starters. And Noah Syndergaard already was once, people forget he was the guy in New York once upon a time ago over Jacob DeGrom, right? He was the ace. So, you know, he still has his stuff. I think with the right coaching, I I'm really excited to see what he can do. Hopefully he can be a good arm for us in the regular season as we wait for some of our guys to get healthy. So, no welcome to LA, but let's be honest, Dodgers not making the big splashing moves that at least we had been accustomed to seeing over the past several years, right? We were starting to become the new New York Yankees, quote unquote, at least in the free agency market with buying up their players. But I'm telling you, this just means they're resetting their taxes, they're gonna choose to reset everything, unload some of the contracts. We are like we've already been seeing, right? Justin Turner, Cody Bellinger not coming back. So I think this just kind of confirms what I had thought this whole time. We're gonna make the push next year, for Mr. Otani, and I'm okay with that. Honestly, uh, I'm expecting. I'm not gonna lie. I'm expecting a bit of a down year in the regular season, right? I think the Dodgers have now seen, and I mean, we've talked about this too, but really, the thing that matters is, are you hot at the right time? And that time being in October. Are you hot in October or not? Right? Dodgers set their franchise record for postseason wins. Or sorry, regular season wins. Franchise record for regular season wins. But, when it mattered the most, bats went cold, right? And the season were over just like that. So I'm thinking they're gonna try to establish, you know, figure out how to get by in the regular season and just, hopefully the team gets hot in October, and quite frankly, that's all that matters. So I'm okay with this. If we're not gonna make a play and we're gonna throw all the money in the world at Shohei Otani next year, I'll be okay with that. Because even if we don't get him, we're getting someone. I don't care who it is. If we don't get Shohei, another big name is coming to LA next year. So I'm okay with that. Yeah, sucks to see Justin Turner go though. He's a big. That was it's gonna suck seeing him in that Red Sox uniform.
It's like a new era of Dodger baseball. Like that whole core is gone except
Hmm.
for Kershaw. I think he's
Yep.
the only one, right?
I mean, Seager left. Now Cody's gone. Justin Turner's gone. Obviously lost Kenley, right? So it's now kind of a Mookie, Freddie, Will Smith team right now. So now we'll see how that goes. Okay, well, that concludes some baseball talk. Really quick, let's do quick NBA shout out, and we got to shout out our boy Dame D.O.L.L.A, absolute stud. He's balling out again, which is always good to see. So he passed Clyde the Glide Drexler as the leading scorer in the Portland Trail Blazers franchise history. 18,041 points and counting now. So congrats to Dame. You know, I wasn't a Blazers fan before I got to Portland. Barely even watched the Blazers. I mean, I knew Damian Lillard obviously, but to see him and to see really something that's basically unheard of in today's game, and that being loyalty to a team, right? Uh, for him to choose to stay in Portland, and I think their team this year, I know they have been inconsistent, but I think if they get it together come playoff time and they're firing on all cylinders, they can go toe to toe with any team in the league with just how their roster is created. So I'm happy for Dame. Hopefully they find some success if the Lakers don't win, of course. Um, but yeah, congrats to Dame. Gotta give a round of applause to Dame. Uh, see, man, you want to say anything about Dame?
There's nothing to be said. I think he's the greatest Blazer. I want to put that out there,
Oh,
right?
I think
Is
that's
that
established now.
a establishment?
I think
Okay.
so. Yeah.
But
Um,
man, we watched Dame grow up basically. He's an old man now on this team. 32. Man. But I mean, yeah, he's just gotta stay healthy. He's starting to get a little old. Injury bug is starting to hit him a little bit. So I think they gotta rely a little bit more on Ant. Ant-Man's gotta take over a little bit, take that burden off of him.
yeah, and just
But
needs to get that clutch gene from
yeah,
Dame because I
yeah.
think they were in a close one tonight too, and
They lost
yeah,
at the
they
buzzer.
yeah they couldn't pull it out. So
Hey, Jeremy Grant is the clutch guy. I think he has like 2 game winners this year.
yeah, well we'll take them however we can get them.
Yep.
Uh, yeah, basketball anyway. I mean, still the regular season, couple big injuries though. Steph and Anthony Davis out. Oh man, that's gonna hurt both those teams really bad. I think. Uh, at least the Lakers, we got absolutely smacked by Phoenix tonight. I don't know how the Warriors are gonna find offense. They're gonna have to become a Jordan Poole run team. And at least Jordan Poole did step up. I think he had like 40 something career high the other night. So you want to see that from him. I think he's gonna have to take over to play that Steph role while Steph is out. So we'll see if they can hold their own until their savior comes back. But uh yeah, other than that,
Yeah.
NBA still early, not even Christmas yet. We'll get to it, all right,
The
everyone.
season starts on Christmas Day,
Yeah,
right?
we'll get
That's
to
what
it.
that's the NBA saying.
We'll get to it. But let's finish up, Matt. A little Hawaii basketball preview. So, got the Diamond Head Classic coming up this weekend. You will be in attendance. Yeah, we'll see how I feel. Maybe I'll make it out. I'll watch the games on TV. Um, but how are you feeling? Pretty confident?
Ooh, I think if they're gonna win the tournament for the first time ever, this is their best chance because I think they have a good draw of the bracket. Um, from what I've heard, I think Iona is gonna be tough, coached by Rick Pitino. So anytime he's coaching, they're gonna be good. They're on the opposite side, and Utah State is good this year. They're also on the opposite side. So you got a little, weaker side with UH. They obviously play Pepperdine. If they advance, I'm most likely going to pencil in Washington State in that semifinal potential game, assuming both teams win. And that's a winnable game. Washington State, yes, they're in the Pac 12, but are they beatable? Absolutely. So I think this I'm really high on this UH team. I don't know why. They're not even the best team that I've seen in recent time. It's still that tournament team, I think, 2016. But just the way that the cards are falling, I think this is the closest thing that we've got so far. And they have the talent, they have the depth to do it. And to me, the guy, there's so many X factors to me, but my X factor is Mr. Avea, our local boy, right? We already know Noel Coleman is, you know, the guy on offense at least. But what I saw in the last game is Samuta got back to being the old Samuta, slashing to the basket, driving the basketball, got a couple dunks, which is good to see, right? That's what he's known for, getting the crowd engaged. They're going to need all of that. They're going to need all of that. He also hit a three. He's been struggling mightily from three this season, but if he can keep that momentum going and be the sidekick to Coleman, take a lot of pressure off of him, that allow him to get more one-on-one opportunities, because I think defenses are starting to figure out, okay, if we take away this guy Coleman, I don't think any of the other guys can beat us one-on-one or hurt us that bad. So if Avea can play to what he's capable of and build off of his last game, they'll be in a good position to win. They'll be in a great position, and I would put a bet in if I was in Vegas. I would put a bet on them to win the tournament. That's how confident I am.
Ooh, all right.
I'm not even a
Getting me
gambler,
hyped
and
up, man.
I would put money on them to win.
All right. Well, let's go, Bows. Hoping for a big
Let's
dub
go,
there.
Bows.
All right. Oh, hopefully, when we check in next week, it's a really happy podcast. Okay. Well, we spent a long went pretty long on this one. So, Matt, why don't you round us out here? Sports facts, and let's call it a pod.
All right, so we're recording on December 19th, and let's stick to the football theme. Back in 2010, as they called it, the Miracle at the Meadowlands. This was the classic, I guess you could say, birth of Deshaun Jackson. Um, 14 seconds, Giants punted the ball to him. Who knows why? He takes it back to the house with no time left on the clock, and the Eagles end up beating the Giants. No idea. Still have no idea why the Giants even punted the ball to him.
You don't know
That's
that story?
absolutely insane.
He he wasn't supposed to. Do you know? Did you not know that?
Yeah, I know it was kind
Oh,
of
okay.
a side joke, but
Oh,
why,
okay.
why you punt the ball to Deshaun? But it would be the two teams that I like the least, right? The Giants and the Eagles. But the Miracle at the Meadowlands, starred by Deshaun Jackson.
Yeah, that guy got cut the next day, by the way. That punter.
Yeah.
Oh, that's such a tough way to end your NFL career, man. Oh, but anyway, okay. Well, thanks for sticking around, everyone. We know it's a long one, but everyone, please stay safe this weekend. Have a good Christmas if you celebrate it. Everyone, eat well and presents and Christmas cheer, all that good stuff. So everyone stay safe. Thanks for listening to this one, and hopefully we will be back with a happy podcast next weekend. Uh, so thank you everyone. Merry Christmas, and we'll catch you guys later.